Dark Pheonix continues a long X-Men franchise tradition by bringing in heroes and villains familiar to the comics fans as well as referencing classic stories. It's easy to miss them all, so here's a look at some of the Dark Pheonix characters who are more important than you realized. If you haven't seen the movie, here's your warning that spoilers are ahead. The X-Men throw an outdoor party after they save the endangered astronauts early in the Dark Pheonix, where a young woman with blonde hair and striking blue eye markings sings as clouds of sparkling lights spin in the air around and above her, choreographed by an unseen source. The singer is Allison Blair, codenamed Dazzler, a mutant who can transform sound into light. As a member of the X-Men, she uses her powers to blind enemies or to attack with bolts of hard light. It's fitting Dark Pheonix is the film that introduces her, given that the X-Men attempt to recruit her in the 1980s Uncanny X-Men number 130, just 5 issues before the Dark Pheonix story officially kicked off. Initially named the Disco Queen, Dazzler would appear in Marvel Comics, and then Casablanca Records would find a singer who would take on the persona of a hero and produce an actual record. A lot of things went wrong though, and Dazzler went from being an interesting media experiment to a D-lister mostly on the periphery of Marvel's narrative. After Jean kills Mystique, the troubled hero travels to a remote island. Though it's never named, it seems to be a version of Genosha, a place that we learn was given to Magneto and other mutants as a homeland.
Look, I know who you are. I don't want to fight.
No, you don't.
In the comics, Genosha begins as an island nation ruled by humans where mutants are enslaved by the government, and their abilities are used to serve the state. In the 1990 event Extinction Agenda, the X-Men, X-Factor, and the New Mutants join forces and topple Genosha's corrupt government. In 1999's X-Men number 87, the United Nations gives the country to Magneto as a mutant homeland. Under his leadership, it grows into something much larger than we see in the Dark Pheonix. One of the Dark Phoenix's more mysterious minor characters is Ariki, one of the Genoshans Magneto brings with him when he attempts to kill Jean Grey. His powers revolve around his long hair, which he uses to grapple or strike opponents. While he's initially an enemy of the X-Men, he's arrested with the heroes and fights alongside them in their battle against the Dabari on the train. Ariki doesn't appear in the comics. It was initially reported Andrew Stellan would be playing a different character. IGN reported that Stellan's character was Red Lotus, an Australian-Chinese character from Extreme X-Men whose powers have nothing to do with hair manipulation. Not that any of that matters all that much. Ariki essentially disappears from the movie during the train battle. When Professor X makes a speech after receiving an award from the president, one of the White House guests is Chris Claremont, a writer whose work on the X-Men comics helped make them the household names they are now. He started writing X-Men in 1975 and wrote them continuously until 1991. He returns to the franchise occasionally even now. He wrote the first Wolverine miniseries with artist Frank Miller, and when Logan finally got his own ongoing series, Claremont was its first scribe. Claremont established the foundation for much of what we see in the films. It was Claremont who introduced the idea that Magneto is a Holocaust survivor and that his actions stem from his horrific experiences during that time. And of course, it was Claremont and collaborator John Byrne who crafted the Dark Pheonix saga.
We had no expectations at all when we did the story. We just wanted to do a really great story.
There's a lot of mystery surrounding Jessica Chastain's character leading up to the release of Dark Pheonix. We now know she plays Vuk, a member of the nearly extinct extraterrestrial race, the Dabari. She siphons some of the Phoenix power from Jean Grey, but eventually is destroyed before Jean takes to the stars. Vuk is one of Marvel's oldest supervillains, though in the comics, she is a he. In his first appearance way back in 1964's Avengers number 4, Vuk turns the Avengers to stone in Order of Namor, the submariner who promises to retrieve Vuk's crashed spaceship in return. Little was heard from the character until Pheonix destroyed his homeworld in 1980's Uncanny X-Men number 135. He's since made sporadic appearances using the name Starhammer and is usually intent on getting revenge on Pheonix. Nightcrawler is clearly not ready for what he experiences in Dark Pheonix. He suffers terrible guilt when he's forced to leave Jean behind in the space shuttle.
Where's Jean?
Where is she? Jean!
Once Jean goes bad, the blue elf is helpless against her. Pheonix beats him up a couple of times and she doesn't pull her punches. In the battle against Magneto and his followers in New York City, Nightcrawler is stressed to his limits as the rest of the team calls on him for aid. When a guard who is trying to help him is killed by one of the Dabari on the prison transport train, he finally snaps. And we see an uncharacteristic viciousness. He uses more brutal tactics than we've ever seen from him, ultimately teleporting one of the Dabari to the train tracks, giving her an evil grin and teleporting away before the approaching train kills his enemy. He's not quite the violent alternate universe version of Kirk from the comics, but he's got that vibe. We don't see or hear much from Selene in the Dark Pheonix. We know she's good with knives and has psychic powers strong enough to at least hold Professor X at bay. And in spite of her earlier mission of killing Jean Grey, she sacrifices herself fighting the Dabari. Selene from the source material is much more complex. She was once known as the Black Queen of the Hellfire Club and one of the world's most powerful mutants, in part because of her wide range of powers. She can suck the life force out of others to make herself stronger, and along with the telepathic power she shows in Dark Pheonix, she's also telekinetic. She's also very tough to kill. No one knows how long she's been alive, only that it's been for a millennia. More than any other X-Men film, Dark Pheonix reveals the shameful manipulations of the seemingly benevolent Professor X. Not only did Xavier lie to Jean when he told her that her father was dead, but without anyone else's knowledge, he placed psychic blocks in her mind to protect her from traumatic memories. The Phoenix Force tears those blocks down once it inhabits Jean.
You think you can fix me?
Jean, you are not broken.
Xavier being a manipulative jerk is nothing new to the comic fans. Over the years, characters who were once almost fanatically loyal to Xavier begin to lose trust in their mentor. One of the most infamous examples of Professor X's dishonesty comes during Joss Whedon's run on Astonishing X-Men, when the X-Men's technological miraculous Danger Room comes alive and attempts to kill the team. It comes to light that Professor X knew the Danger Room had a mind of its own ever since it went online, but kept its life a secret so no one would object to use it to train. Total jerk move, Professor. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite superhero movies are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that bell so you don't miss a single one.